Welcome to the Revealer. The air in Heathrow's Terminal 4 was thick with tension. A tension I'd seen in my clinic, but this time, it was my own. I stood beside my son Leo watching the departure board Manila, a destination that felt both reckless and necessary. Leo, just 19, gripped his passport, silent and anxious. The UK system had told him he wasn't good enough to be a doctor. We weren't just leaving a country, we were leaving behind a dream, one shaped by tradition, now shattered by impersonal algorithms and interviews. As a father and a doctor, I saw the spark in Leo's eyes dim with every rejection. This flight was our leap of faith to reignite it. We walked toward the gate, leaving behind the security of the NHS and the comfort of home, stepping into uncertainty. Would Manila offer the education and belonging Leo needed? Doubt swirled, but I saw resolve settle on his face. The final call echoed, a point of no return. We exchanged a look. This was our only way forward. We left behind the rigid world of British medical admissions for something unknown but hopefully better. As the plane lifted off, I felt a sense of release. We weren't just flying to a new country, we were flying toward a new definition of medicine. One built on compassion, connection, and heart. The journey ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in months, hope felt possible. We were ready to begin again. Becoming a doctor in the UK was once a path of honor and service. I lived that promise, trained here, and built my career on NHS values. But now, the journey is a relentless competition, academic perfection, endless extracurriculars, and interviews that miss the heart of medicine. Thousands like Leo, with top grades and genuine empathy, are turned away each year, reduced to data points, their passion lost. The system values flawless applicants over compassionate healers, teaching young people that scores matter more than soul. Even those who get in face impersonal bureaucratic training where protocols overshadow patient stories. The art of medicine, connection, empathy, humanity, is being squeezed out. I saw my son's dream crumble under this pressure. His desire to heal was dismissed. The system said he wasn't the right fit. The rejection was more than a setback. It questioned his very essence. In that moment, I knew we needed an alternative. We had to find a place where the heart of medicine still beat strong. The UK system is failing not just students, but future patients. We needed to rediscover what truly matters in medicine. For Leo and for all those like him, there had to be another way, and we were determined to find it. The idea didn't come from a prospectus but from coffee with an old friend, Dr. Aris Cruz, a Filipino doctor in Manchester. I shared my frustration over Leo's rejections. Aris listened, then asked, "Have you ever considered the Philippines?" The suggestion was unexpected. I worried about standards, recognition, and culture, but Aris described a different kind of medical education, rooted in community, compassion, and hands-on experience from day one. He spoke of his nephew, once rejected in the UK, now thriving in Manila, learning not just science, but how to connect with patients and adapt in low-resource settings. It was medicine with heart, a vision that resonated deeply. Aris explained that students in the Philippines are given real responsibility early, guided by mentors who value patient dignity. The phrase, medicine with heart, stuck with me. For the first time in months, I felt hope. Perhaps the end of one road was the beginning of another, more meaningful one. That conversation planted a seed. We began to imagine a new path for Leo. Sometimes, the best ideas come from a simple, heartfelt conversation, and this one changed everything. Inspired, Leo and I sought out stories, not statistics, of students who'd made the same journey. We spoke to a young woman from Birmingham, once rejected in the UK, now thriving in Manila. She felt like a doctor in training from day one. She recalled taking a patient's history in a community clinic, learning more about trust and connection than any textbook could teach. Another student from Manchester described the Filipino spirit of bayanihan, communal unity. In Manila, classmates were a support system, not rivals. They studied together, shared notes, and faced challenges as a team. This collaborative environment fostered resilience and empathy, not burnout. Professors were mentors, invested in personal and professional growth. Students learned to be resourceful, adaptable, and culturally sensitive. Compassion was celebrated as a core clinical skill. These stories were proof another way was possible. Leo and I found hope in these voices, an oasis in a desert of rejection. They showed us that medicine could be about more than just a degree. It could be about healing, community, and heart. For the first time, Leo saw a future where he belonged, and so did I. Arriving in Manila was a sensory jolt, chaotic, vibrant, and alive. The city's contrasts were everywhere, skyscrapers beside low-rise communities, modern malls next to centuries-old churches. But the real difference was the people. At the university, senior students greeted Leo by name, welcoming him with genuine warmth. He was swept into a whirlwind of orientation, study groups, and friendships with students from around the world. There was no competition, only shared purpose and support. For Leo, who'd felt isolated and rejected, this sense of belonging was transformative. Faculty treated us like family. The dean met us over coffee, speaking of training 5-star physicians, skilled, compassionate, and community-minded. Here, they didn't just train minds, they trained hearts. Leo was no longer an applicant number. He was part of a community. The tension melted from his shoulders. In that moment, I knew we'd made the right decision. We'd found a place that understood the true essence of medicine. Manila's medical education was a revelation. Clinical experience began almost immediately. Students weren't confined to lecture halls, they learned science and human connection side by side. Professors, practicing clinicians, taught through stories and practical wisdom, emphasizing the social and emotional dimensions of illness. Lessons included the realities of poverty and cultural beliefs, teaching medicine as a human art. Communication and empathy were core, examinable skills. Students practiced breaking bad news, building rapport, and listening deeply. Leo grew in confidence and empathy, learning to hear the story behind the symptoms. Patient encounters were about the whole person, not just a diagnosis. This approach transformed learning into a personal journey. Leo wasn't just memorizing facts, he was building a compassionate practice. The most powerful tool a doctor has isn't a prescription pad, it's a listening ear and an open heart. Here, medicine was grounded in science, but delivered with humanity. Leo was finally learning the kind of doctor he wanted to be, and I saw him come alive. The most transformative experiences happened far from campus, on medical missions to rural and underserved areas. Students traveled for hours to set up makeshift clinics, providing care with limited resources. They learned to rely on clinical skills and judgment, not technology. I joined Leo on one mission, watching him treat everything from infections to chronic illness with compassion and ingenuity. These missions taught humility and perspective. Healthcare is a luxury for many. Students saw firsthand how poverty and lack of access shape health. They developed a deep sense of social responsibility and service. The gratitude of villagers, food, gifts, a simple salamat po, blurred the lines between doctor and patient. Medicine became an active community, not just care. For Leo, these experiences grounded him in the true purpose of medicine. They stripped it down to its core to serve, to care, to affirm dignity, and they changed him forever. Over 2 years, I watched Leo transform, from anxious and dejected to confident and compassionate. He found not just a place to study, but a place to belong. His empathy, once overlooked, was now celebrated. He called to share stories, not just of diseases, but of people whose lives touched his own. He was falling in love with medicine again. This journey changed me too. Supporting Leo helped me rediscover my own purpose as a doctor. Our relationship deepened. We became colleagues, sharing stories and debating ethics. Leo was no longer following my path, he was forging his own, more authentic and heart-centered. He was becoming the kind of doctor the world needs, skilled, kind, and deeply human. Medicine, at its core, is about bearing witness, offering comfort and healing. Leo's journey reminded me why I chose this path, and together we found our way back to the heart of medicine. Our journey from Heathrow ended with a realization. The best medical education nurtures the heart as much as the mind. The Philippines gave this gift to my son, and to me. Now I feel a responsibility to share what we've learned and advocate for change in the UK. I speak to colleagues and educators about early patient contact, empathy, and community-based learning. We must move beyond grades and value compassion, resilience, and teamwork. Leo will return to the UK, bringing with him not just a degree, but a new perspective, one shaped by service and humanity. His journey isn't a criticism of the NHS, but a story of hope. It shows that the heart of medicine is universal. Sometimes you have to travel halfway around the world to find your way back to it. The lessons of Manila can inspire change at home. Medicine's true power lies in connection, service, and heart. And that is a lesson worth bringing home.